Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a whole stack of sources, untack them, and get you up to speed fast. Today we're diving into the pretty dark and, frankly, exhilarating world of Lord Belial's latest album, Unholy Trinity. Our mission here is to figure out what makes this album a masterpiece, especially after such a big comeback. We're pulling from sources looking at their history, the sound, the impact, the whole picture.
Yeah, and there's been incredible anticipation around this. I mean, this is a band that's been part of Scandinavian black metal for, what, decades now?
Foundational, really.
Exactly. Lord Belial's journey, it's almost like a blueprint for so many bands of that type. You really feel the history.
A blueprint. Okay, that's interesting. What makes their path so typical or indicative?
Well, think about it. They started way back 1992, right in that second wave.
Okay.
And for over 10 years, they were putting out albums pretty regularly. Solid stuff. But then after the Black Curse in 2008, silence. Radio silence. To the point they actually announced, we're done officially.
Yeah. Right. And lots of bands from that time had similar stories, didn't they? Intense periods, then breaks, members doing other things.
Exactly. It's a familiar pattern.
But then Lord Belial, bang on, 30 years after they formed, they come back with Rapture.
A nominal return, yeah.
And what's really wild is it wasn't just the old fans coming back. They picked up a whole new audience.
Which is pretty rare.
Totally. And now, Unholy Trinity is their 10th album, 3 years after Rapture?
Yep. And this is where that blueprint idea gets interesting. Because despite breaking up multiple times, health issues, motivation, the usual stuff,
right,
they still have the original lineup.
That is unusual for a band this old in this genre.
Almost unheard of. And the sources kind of suggest this consistency, weirdly, might be part of why they aren't, top-tier famous compared to some others.
You mean compared to bands who changed members or chased trends more?
Yeah, exactly. It's this fascinating idea that sticking together, staying true, might have kept them slightly out of that main spotlight, a different path to longevity.
That's a really interesting thought. Staying true perhaps limited their mainstream reach. Okay, so with that comeback story setting the stage, let's get into Unholy Trinity itself. First up, the sound, the production. Sources say Andy LaRocque recorded, mixed, and mastered it. Big King Diamond connection there. How does that show up?
Oh, it definitely shows up. LaRocque brings this clarity and power, but without losing the raw edge. It's key. The sound is similar to Rapture. You can hear the continuity, but there's a shift. It's subtle.
How so?
One reviewer had this great line, said, "Everything has been moved to the left by an inch."
Moved to the left by an inch. That's evocative. What does that actually mean sonically?
Well, I think it means things feel tighter, maybe a bit more claustrophobic. The elements are closer.
Okay. Amplifying the dread.
Exactly. Instead of some huge open soundscape, it creates this really intense listening experience. Like the music is always just one step away from crashing down on you.
Wow.
It's not just volume, it's tension, dynamics, pushing you right to the edge.
And you said it's clearer than Rapture.
Yeah, even clearer, more powerful. The guitars sound amazing, and the drums are really dominant. But crucially, they don't just drown everything else out. It's very polished, but still brutal, high-quality work.
That feeling of, impending collapse.
Yeah.
It's just the album cover, too.
Yeah.
Mike Krupavkak, again, same artist as Rapture. That figure ringing a bell.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like a summoning.
Which leads to the question, right? Is it a concept album?
Yeah. Is it?
Well, they haven't explicitly said so.
Yeah.
But the title, Unholy Trinity, and the themes, it definitely points that way. The story seems to be about summoning three unholy beings for this big, blasphemous fight against world religion.
Oh, a classic black metal fairy tale, as one source put it.
Pretty much. There's a definite thread, almost theatrical, running through it. You really feel it in the first 3 songs especially. It holds together.
Okay, let's get into the meat of it then. Why is everyone calling this thing a masterpiece? The sources use phrases like real jabole with niveau.
Which means, blasting with quality.
Right. And an unstoppable forward march.
Yeah.
Even saying it's a good alternative to depressive shoegaze, post-black metal whining.
Ouch. But yeah, that quality part is key. It's not just speed for speed's sake, meaning it's precise, it's musical, there's intent behind that relentless attack. Take Ipsa Venit, the opener, first single.
Hits you right away.
Instantly. That blast beat from Rapture, which, okay, some people found a bit monotonous, it's back, but here it bullets forward, totally unrestrained.
Sets the tone.
Absolutely. Sets the direction, the intensity right from the start. It's often just fast or very fast. And the vocals are more spokenish, rasping, growling, cutting right through the drums and riffs. There are these little light melodies and keyboard bits too, but they're subtle.
So that opener really grabs you, sets a blistering pace. Sounds like pure power. But you mentioned the guitars stand out too. How do the wild solos fit in? Are they just chaos?
Controlled chaos, I'd say. The guitar work is definitely a highlight. One reviewer admitted they usually prefer riffs over solos. But even they were blown away by the solos on tracks like Blasphemy and Scornful Vengeance. Called them insane, playful almost, but incredibly powerful.
Interesting. So it pushes them away from pure black metal.
A bit, yeah. Leans more towards death metal and that technicality, the soloing. It's this really delicate balance they strike between moody, simple parts and these fiery, complex passages. The Whore is a great example.
Right.
And the way the lead and rhythm guitars play off each other just lifts everything else up. Adds so much depth.
Okay, so guitars are a huge factor.
Mm-hmm.
What about the vocals? Thomas Backlund, often a make-or-break thing in black metal. One source seemed unimpressed, called them nothing outstanding.
Yeah, but another reviewer completely disagreed. Forcefully.
Oh, really?
Called them easily some of the best vocals they'd heard all year.
Wow. Okay, so what's the argument for them being great?
Well, they're expressive, technically varied. Every scream, every growl just cuts through like a knife. And you can actually understand the lyrics, which isn't always the case. Someone compared them to Nagelfar's Harvest, pointing out how Backlund sounds both tormented and empowered at the same time.
That's a cool contrast, vulnerability and strength.
Exactly. It's rare. Plus, you get that classic Swedish thing, the double vocals sometimes. Creates this really sinister choir effect. Adds to that whole theatrical feel we talked about.
Right, that choir effect.
Right.
So beyond the power in the vocals, sources also mention more melodic, atmospheric parts. How do those fit in with all the intensity? Do they slow things down?
They don't really slow it down, more like they add layers,
Right.
create dynamic shifts, deepen the atmosphere.
Examples.
Okay, Serpent's Feast, it has this really eerie, kind of ghostly piano melody. Reminded one reviewer of Valdrin, actually, and there's choral singing in the background. Creates this genuinely horrifying vibe.
Nice.
Plus, there's a little nod in that track to their classic album, Enter the Moonlight Gate. Fans will catch that.
Cool little Easter egg.
Yeah. Then there's In Chaos Transcend, which is described as variant-rich. It shifts between just pounding aggression and these really sophisticated, almost hymnic sections.
Okay.
And The Great Void is probably the most atmospheric track, really gives off this powerful Bathory feeling, creates the sense of a world just burning down with these spontaneous choir effects popping up.
Yeah.
Even Antichrist uses opera choirs mixed with the blasting to really hammer home the evil aspects. So these elements aren't just tacked on, they're woven into the fabric, crucial to the drummer.
It's impressive how they layer that in without losing the core intensity. Now, you mentioned one reviewer had an issue, right? The fast blast beat, the hard snare sound, potentially monotonous.
Yeah, that was one point of critique. And look, it's a fair point for any band that relies heavily on blast beats.
Sure.
But the thing with Lord Belial is they usually switch things up pretty quickly. Tempo changes, different dynamics. Just when you might start to feel that fatigue set in, they pivot.
Keeps it from getting stale.
Exactly. It stays balanced. I mean, one description said the bass drums are just shredded, probably need replacing after every other song.
Paints a picture.
It really does. Shows the physical intensity. But overall, the album's just packed intricate parts, clever writing, intense moods. It could feel overwhelming at first if you're not used to it, just because so much is happening all the time.
That density is part of the appeal, though, maybe. Replay value.
Definitely. You hear new things each time.
Okay, we've covered the sound, the structure,
Yeah.
but there's always context with a band like this. The sources mention something about their history, a song that never got released. Almost controversial.
Yeah, that's an interesting bit of background. Apparently, way back, a song was flagged as potentially right-wing extremist by a former record label, so it wasn't released.
Okay.
But importantly, the reviewer who looked into the lyrics, they clarified that they found them, well, obvious and pretty silly, actually.
Really?
Yeah, directed against all sorts of religions, naming them specifically. The reviewer stated they couldn't find any actual extremist background there.
So, more anti-religion than anything political.
Seems like it. The sources frame the band's focus as blasphemous metal aimed at eradicating religions, tying back to that black metal fairy tale idea, an artistic statement against dogma, not politics.
Right, that makes sense, given their whole theme. So, pulling it all together, what's the verdict on Unholy Trinity? Sources seem pretty unanimous.
Yeah, the overall feeling is definitely black metal masterpiece, surpassed expectations.
Pays homage to the 90s sound.
For sure. But skillfully bridges it to a modern sound, too. It's not just retro.
Any key comparisons reviewers made?
Yeah, some interesting ones. Dissection came up, which is huge praise, pointing to that melodic aggression.
High bar.
Definitely. Others mentioned a mix like T.S. Juder meets Marduk meets Immortal from their At the Heart of Winter phase.
Wow, that's a potent combo. Ferocious, but atmospheric.
Exactly. It shows the different facets people are hearing, the raw power, the cold atmosphere, the musicianship, but it still sounds like Lord Belial.
So, bottom line.
Bottom line, if you haven't listened to Lord Belial yet, well, maybe this deep dive is your sign to finally do it.
Well, there you have it. Another deep dive wrapped up. We definitely encourage you to check out the intensity, the intricate passages of Lord Belial's Unholy Trinity for yourself.
And maybe think about this as you listen. Consider their whole journey, right? Foundational 90s band, the breakups, this powerful return. What does their sound still familiar, but somehow even more sinister now tell us? How can a band honor its roots and push forward artistically within a genre, even without hitting that sort of top-tier fame? Something to chew on.